Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the all-new Toyota Tacoma TRD PRo. In this review, I'm going to cover all of the ins and outs, take it on a thorough drive, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. Before we begin, a special thanks to AutoNation for providing this opportunity. For more information regarding dealerships in your area, current inventory, and more, feel free to check out AutoNation.com or click the link in the description box below. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up and let her run. First introduced as a 2016 model, the all-new third-generation Tacoma underwent significant changes to its powertrain, suspension, and structure to solidify its place in the highly competitive yet relatively narrow mid-sized truck segment. While thoroughly improved, it's not radically different, which is a plus in my book, as sometimes it's just not necessary to reinvent the wheel. The Tacoma packs a lot of character. The desert racing inspired styling and high lift image gives the truck a more aggressive persona, while helping reduce aerodynamic drag by 12% over its predecessor. The chassis and underpinnings are a familiar design, with the exception of high-strength steel being added to the frame in order to improve rigidity and strength. High and ultra-high strength steel was also added to the body structure using a new hot stamping process that helps reduce weight. The suspension was thoroughly reworked to help deliver a smoother on-road ride, but also make the truck more capable both in off-roading and in towing. There's big powertrain upgrades too, but we'll dive more into that in just a moment. The new TRD PRo was introduced last year after a one-year hiatus. Building on the foundation of the TRD Off-Road, the Pro is the ultimate expression of Tacoma off-road capability, versatility, and design. From the outside, it's hard to mistake it for any other model with its heritage-inspired front grille and blacked-out hood scoop. The black over-fenders are shared with the TRD Off-Road. Additional things that set the TRD PRo apart include gloss black wheels, Rigid Industries LED fog lamps, black bezels for the headlamps and tail lamps, unique door and tailgate badging, an aluminum front skid plate, and a sport exhaust. For 2018, the TRD PRo is available in three colors: Super White, Midnight Black Metallic, and Cavalry Blue. Currently, the Tacoma lineup consists of 6 models, including the SR, SR5, TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road, Limited, and the TRD PRo. When you take into consideration the many different ways you can configure a Tacoma, there's actually up to 30 variations to suit pretty much any need. An entry-level Tacoma SR Access cab comes at an MSRP of $26,396 or $24,680 if you look for the optional utility package, which actually discounts it by $1,715. If you're looking for a basic work truck, that should certainly do the trick. On the other hand, at $42,715, the TRD PRo is the most expensive Tacoma you can get. There are no additional options for the Pro aside from dealer-installed accessories. It includes most everything you'd expect to find on the Limited, plus all of the extra off-road goodies. Across the lineup, there's 7 different wheel designs available that range in diameter from 16 to 18 inches. The TRD PRo features a unique set of 16-inch gloss black alloys with red accented center caps and cast TRD logos on the outer lips. They're wrapped in meaty 265/70 Goodyear Wrangler all-terrain Kevlar reinforced tires. The braking setup is relatively simple, consisting of 10.75-inch internally ventilated discs up front with 4-piston calipers and 10-inch drums in the rear. The parking brake is a mechanical lever type. I'm sure some of you are scratching your head as to why Toyota didn't switch to disc brakes in the rear. Well, I don't have an official answer for that, but what I can say is that during normal driving, the drums didn't seem to negatively impact anything. Even with electronic brake force distribution, most of the work is being done by the front brakes anyway. A new brake booster and ABS actuator though help properly proportion that work. At the end of the day, I think it really just boils down to personal preference. Drum brakes do still have a place in the world. They're a simple yet cost-effective solution to disc brakes, and at least in the case of this truck, they should be a little bit more advantageous when it comes to off-roading. The new Tacoma retains a rack and pinion steering system with hydraulic power assistance. With 4x4 models, the ratio is 17.3 to 1, and the steering takes about 3.6 turns to lock. The TRD PRo's turning circle measures 40.8 feet. The overall steering feel and response almost mirrors that of its predecessor. All Tacomas are supported by an independent double wishbone front suspension and a leaf-sprung rear suspension. The TRD PRo adds specifically tuned front springs that raise the ride height by an inch. You also get Fox 2.5-inch internal bypass shock absorbers with remote reservoirs in the rear and progressive rate off-road leaf springs. If you're an off-road enthusiast, the Pro gives you what you need to push the truck further, similar to what Chevrolet offers with the Colorado ZR2. The changes improve clearance at the front, back, and sides with approach, departure, and breakover angles coming in at 35, 23.9, and 26 degrees respectively. Minimum ground clearance measured at the differential is 9.4 inches. It's also worth noting that the ride is firm but not stiff. It still maintains a fairly comfortable disposition, even with all of the upgraded equipment. While most Tacomas are offered with a choice between two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, the TRD Off-Road and TRD PRo include four-wheel drive as standard. It's a part-time system that features an electronically controlled 2-speed transfer case with a 2.57 to 1 low-range ratio. It's operated by a dial to the right of the steering column. When opting for the automatic transmission on either of the aforementioned models, you also get a multi-terrain select system that regulates wheel spin and helps provide maximum traction on almost any terrain, such as loose rock, mud, or even sand. Additional off-roading technology available in the Tacoma includes a locking rear differential, hill start assist, active traction control, crawl control, and more. Of course, all of that is standard on the TRD PRo. The Tacoma is offered with two engines. The standard power plant for the SR and SR5 grades is a 2.7-liter four-cylinder, which as of 2018 can only be had with a 6-speed automatic transmission. 2016 and 2017 models came standard with a 5-speed manual, while the automatic was optional. The four-cylinder develops 159 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 180 pound-feet of torque at 3,800 RPM. However, if you're looking for more oomph, there's a new 3.5-liter V6. It's optional on the SR and SR5 and standard on the TRD Sport and above. The V6 is packed with a lot of advanced stuff, such as variable valve timing with intelligent wider intake and Toyota D4S fuel injection technology. Together, they help optimize power and efficiency by enabling the engine to run on the Atkinson cycle and utilize both direct and port fuel injection. Peak output is 278 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 265 pound-feet of torque at 4,600 RPM. That's a 42 horsepower gain over the previous generation's 4-liter V6. On most V6 equipped Tacomas, a 6-speed manual transmission is standard. The 6-speed automatic shown here is a $2,000 option. If you need to manually select gears, you can do so via the console shifter. With the automatic, the TRD PRo can accelerate to 60 miles an hour in about 7.7 seconds. The V6 delivers good power, but the transmission programming can make it feel a bit sluggish at lower speeds. It seems to be geared more towards fuel economy, especially with how quick the 3rd to 4th gear upshift is. That being said, there's a button labeled ECT Power in the center stack. Being that the transmission is electronically controlled, pressing this button adjusts the shift algorithm to allow the engine to reach a higher RPM before shifting. It also seems to liven up the throttle response. It certainly makes a difference, especially with passing and merging on the highway. If it were my money though, I'd save the $2,000 and go for the manual. While I haven't had the pleasure to drive one yet, it will allow you to take full advantage of the engine's power and make the drive more entertaining. As far as fuel economy, a four-wheel drive V6 powered Tacoma with the automatic transmission is rated between 18 miles per gallon in the city and 23 miles per gallon on the highway. You can expect an average of 20 miles per gallon in mixed driving while running regular 87 octane. Total tank capacity is 21.1 gallons. Toyota did a fantastic job on the interior of the new Tacoma. It's got a notably rugged feel, but it's a nicer place to sit than before. Build quality has definitely improved. It's also a lot quieter thanks to enhanced door seals, a multi-layer acoustic windshield, sound-absorbing headliner, and a floor silencer pad. The basic interior dimensions are very comparable to the previous generation with the exception of increased shoulder and hip room. Grade-specific elements that you'll find on the TRD Pro include leather-trimmed heated front seats with red accent stitching and TRD logos on the headrests. You also have different floor mats and a TRD shift knob. The Tacoma's front seats are very comfortable, and on all trim levels, including the limited, manual adjustments are standard, four-way for the driver and passenger. The driver does get manual lumbar, which is nice, and there's no height adjustment, but the seating position in this truck is really good, so it's not all that necessary anyway. The steering wheel adjusts for both tilt and reach, and in the TRD Pro, just like the Limited, it's trimmed in leather. When it comes to safety, the Tacoma is packed full of stuff, even more so for 2018 as Toyota's suite of driver assistance technologies is now standard across all grades. That includes a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, lane departure alert with sway warning, automatic high beams, and high-speed dynamic radar cruise control. You also have dual front airbags, front seat mounted side airbags, and side curtain airbags for the front and rear, not to mention knee airbags for both the driver and passenger and active headrests. Just like the Limited, the TRD Pro comes standard with a dual-zone electronic automatic climate control system. It's very simple and straightforward to use, with 3 big dials coming across the middle. There's an LCD display up top, as well as the controls for your heated seats. Down towards the bottom of the center stack, you'll find an array of buttons with a bunch of features that I've already talked about in earlier portions of the video. Here you'll also find a 12-volt power outlet, as well as auxiliary and USB inputs. One of the more convenient things though is the wireless phone charging tray. Just press the button up top to activate it and lay your phone down on the charging pad and it should automatically start up. This one also has a power sliding rear window. There's a handful of audio and infotainment options across the Tacoma lineup, but the TRD Pro comes standard with the premium in-tune audio system. It's one step below the JBL system that comes standard in the Limited, but like the Limited, this has a 7-inch touchscreen display with built-in navigation. There's shortcut buttons on either side and a built-in CD player on top. While the system is easy to use and it has a lot of features, it does feel a little bit old-fashioned, and it's missing some things that are now becoming commonplace nowadays, like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. One thing that's not missing though is storage space. There's a ton of it, especially across the center console where you have 3 cup holders. There's big door pockets and a generous locking glove box. The back seat of the new Tacoma is not exceptionally roomy. Again, overall interior dimensions are very comparable to the previous model, but like the front seats, you'll see improvements in both shoulder and hip room. You can sit 3 people back there with 3 adjustable headrests. I'm 5'10" and I didn't have too much trouble sitting back there. The biggest rate limiting factor for taller folks is going to be leg space. It really depends on the height of the people in front of you. I still had plenty of headspace left over, and I had some leg space, just not quite as much. Aside from being able to carry more passengers comfortably, another benefit for going for the double cab is that you get a lot more rear seat utility. So if you fold down the 60-40 split seat, there's a hard shell backing so you can load up more stuff and not worry about damaging the upholstery. There's also under-seat storage and some more cup holders. The TRD Pro comes standard with the otherwise optional V6 tow package. When equipped, the Tacoma can tow up to 6,800 pounds. That's a 300-pound increase over the previous generation. The tow package consists of a Class 4 towing receiver hitch, a transmission fluid cooler when equipped with the automatic transmission, as well as an engine oil cooler, a power steering cooler, a 130 amp alternator, both 4 and 7-pin connectors, and a trailer sway control system. The Access cab models ride on a 127.4-inch wheelbase and have a 73.7-inch long bed, while the double cabs are offered in two versions. One has a 127.4-inch wheelbase with a 60.5-inch bed, the other has a 140.6-inch wheelbase with the 73.7-inch bed. The TRD Pro is only offered on the double cab short bed. The inner portion of both bed styles are made from tough and durable sheet-molded composite that's 10% lighter than steel. The bed deck features 2-tier loading and an integrated deck rail utility system with 4 standard adjustable tied-down cleats. You can also opt for a 120-volt power outlet at the rear. One of the nicest additions to the new Tacoma, though, is a damped tailgate, which allows it to slowly retract, preventing it from slamming down. For extra security, a factory-installed tri-fold hard tonneau cover is now available.
Now let's go ahead and see how she sounds. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today if you haven't already. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.